It's time for the Glendale Devotional Podcast, a 5-minute weekday devotional ministry from Glendale Baptist Church in Glen, Mississippi. The speaker is John Haynes. Now, here is Brother John.
We're studying various aspects of the life and time of Moses. Long ago, in the country of Egypt, a new Pharaoh was the leader. This evil and vile man certainly did not plan on showing kindness to the Hebrew people, as did his predecessor. As a result, he decided to invoke a new law and have all of the Hebrew baby boys killed. Listen to Exodus chapter 1, verses 15 through 21 from the New Living Translation, and let's find out about two ladies who were full of faith and saw the value of every life.
Then Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, gave this order to the Hebrew midwives, Shiphrah and Puah. When you help the Hebrew women as they give birth, watch as they deliver. If the baby is a boy, kill him. If it is a girl, let her live. But because the midwives feared God, they refused to obey the king's orders. They allowed the boys to live too. So the king of Egypt called for the midwives. "Why have you done this?" he demanded. "Why have you allowed the boys to live?" "The Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women," the midwives replied. "They are more vigorous and have their babies so quickly that we cannot get there in time." So God was good to the midwives, and the Israelites continued to multiply, growing more and more powerful. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people: "Throw every newborn Hebrew boy into the Nile River, but you may let the girls live."
The social climate toward the Hebrew people was very difficult. This particular Pharaoh hated the people of God, even though there had been peace in the land for years since the Hebrew people had lived there. It's important to remember a promise that God made to Abraham in Genesis chapter 12, verse 3. "I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." This Pharaoh went against the chosen people of God. As a result, plagues came upon Egypt. He and his army were killed in the Red Sea as they were in pursuit of Moses and the Hebrew people. Now, this reminds us of two important things. First, God always keeps his promises. God is faithful. Second, it causes us to remember that we must always support Israel. But this king sought to eliminate this people. But I want us to notice these two midwives, Shiphrah and Puah. Now, to be honest, if I was in some type of a Bible trivia contest and I was asked who Shiphrah and Puah were, well, I'm not sure that I'd be able to identify them. However, these two brave ladies, although they may go unnoticed oftentimes, rose above the law of the land and looked at the sanctity of every life. They did not obey the Pharaoh. Instead, they preserved the lives of the Hebrew boys. It goes without saying that Christians should obey the laws of the land. However, these women had a prevailing and guiding principle that the apostles proclaimed in Acts chapter 5, verse 29. We ought to obey God rather than men. Certainly, this is not a call to revolt or try to be renegades against the government. But these two midwives understood that even if something is legal, that doesn't necessarily make it biblically right. God is the author of life. For such a time as that, God was about to raise up a man named Moses, who would lead God's people out of slavery into the promised land. Imagine the horror that mothers and fathers had during pregnancies. The Pharaoh said that baby girls would live, but baby boys would die. This, of course, was to deplete the Hebrew population by killing off the males, and the girls would grow up, no doubt, to be victims of human trafficking or slaves to the Egyptian men. The national leadership issued a death sentence, but God raised up two ladies, two heroes, in order to protect life. Let's commit to being good, law-abiding citizens, but yet we also realize that there is a far higher court to which we will all give an account as we stand before the throne of God. God specializes in life. He made you, and there is not a person that you will meet today that God does not love. Let's value life as much as Shiphrah and Puah did, and let's value life as much as our Heavenly Father does. We'll be back tomorrow. Join us then, won't you? Have a good and godly day.